Picture this. It's a cold October night, 2,000 years ago. On a hilltop in ancient Ireland, Celtic priests are lighting a massive bonfire, flames roaring into the darkness. Families huddle close, wearing animal skins and grotesque masks. They're terrified. Why? Because tonight, they believe the dead are walking among them. Fast forward to today. Children in superhero costumes knock on doors asking for candy. We carve smiling faces into pumpkins. Same night. October 31st. But everything changed. What if I told you the candy you hand out started as food offerings to appease wandering spirits? Those costumes were originally disguises to hide from ghosts who wanted to harm you. That jack-o'-lantern on your porch was a desperate attempt to keep malevolent entities away from your home. Halloween isn't what you think it is. The box has been sealed for centuries, the true story buried under layers of commercialization and cute traditions. I'm opening that box. This is Pandora's project. We explore the origins that have been hidden, transformed, or forgotten. If you're curious about the real stories behind the traditions we celebrate, subscribe and hit the like button. And drop a comment telling me which origin story you want to hear next. Today, we're going back 2,000 years to discover how an ancient festival of the dead became the candy-fueled holiday we celebrate today. The real story of Halloween? It's darker, stranger, and way more fascinating than anyone told you. Let's open this box together. Part 1. The Celtic Beginning. Let's go back to where this all started. Ancient Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France, over 2,000 years ago. The Celtic people who lived there didn't see the year the way we do. They divided it into two halves, light and dark. November 1st was the beginning of winter, the dark half. The night before, October 31st, they celebrated Samhain, which literally meant summer's end. But calling it a celebration is misleading because this was the most spiritually dangerous night of the entire year. Here's what the Celts believed. On this night, the barrier between our world and the world of the dead became thin, almost transparent. Spirits of those who had died in the past year could cross back into the realm of the living. And here's the terrifying part. Not all spirits were your beloved grandmother coming back for a visit. Some spirits were malicious, angry, and vengeful. They could damage crops, sicken livestock, harm people, or worse. The Celts weren't celebrating this night, but were simply trying to survive it. So they developed very specific survival rituals. First, the sacred bonfires. Celtic priests, the Druids, would light absolutely massive fires on hilltops. We're talking infernos visible for miles. These weren't for warmth or light. They were spiritual weapons. Families would bring fire from their own hearths, extinguish them completely, and then relight their home fires using flames from the sacred bonfire. This created a direct spiritual connection between their homes and the protective power of the ritual. It was like a shield made of fire. But fire alone wasn't enough. Second, the offerings. Celts would set out elaborate spreads of food and drink outside their doors, not for neighbors, but for the dead. The logic was simple and chilling. Feed them, and maybe they'll leave you alone. Ignore them, and face the consequences. Now here's where it gets even darker. There are historical accounts, though heavily debated, of animal sacrifices during this festival. Some sources even claim human sacrifice was part of the most important rituals. We can't verify if this is true or if it was Roman and Christian propaganda designed to make the Celts look barbaric. But either way, it tells us how seriously they took this night. And then there were the costumes. The Celts would wear masks and disguises made from animal skins and heads. They'd cover themselves in ash and dirt. They'd become unrecognizable. Why? Because if you looked like something other than human, the spirits couldn't identify you, couldn't target you, and couldn't harm you. It was camouflage for your soul. So we have October 31st as a doorway between worlds. Bonfires, offerings, disguises. Every single element traces back to fear. Fear of death, fear of the unknown, fear of what might cross over when the veil is thin. But this story is about to transform completely. Because a new religion is coming, and it's going to rewrite everything. Part 2. Christianity transforms everything. Fast forward to the 1st century AD. The Roman Empire conquered Celtic territories. And over the following centuries, Christianity spread throughout these regions. Now, the early Christian church had a problem. The Celtic people were deeply attached to their traditional festivals. This ancient celebration wasn't just a party. It was woven into their understanding of life, death, and the seasons. So the church did something clever. Instead of trying to eliminate the festival entirely, they transformed it. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, also called All Hallows Day. This was a day to honor all Christian saints and martyrs. Notice anything? November 1st, the exact date that had been the first day of the Celtic New Year. The night before, October 31st, became known as All Hallows Eve. Now say that a few times quickly. All Hallows Eve. Hallows Eve. Halloween. Halloween. The church also established November 2nd as All Souls' Day, a day to pray for the souls of the dead still in purgatory. So now you had 3 days of the dead. October 31st as the vigil, November 1st for honoring saints, and November 2nd for praying for souls. And the old traditions just kept going. People still believed spirits walked the earth during these nights. They still lit bonfires. They still wore disguises. But now it was framed within Christian theology about saints, souls, and purgatory. And there was a new tradition that developed during the Middle Ages called souling. Poor people would go door to door offering to pray for the dead in exchange for soul cakes, sweet pastries marked with a cross. Does that sound familiar? People going door to door and receiving food? That's a direct predecessor to trick-or-treating. So Christianity didn't erase Halloween but absorbed it, renamed it, and reframed it. The same rituals and the same fear of the dead continued, just with a new brand. But we're still not at modern Halloween yet. For that, we need to cross an ocean. Part 3. Halloween comes to America. Halloween existed in colonial America, but it was limited and frowned upon in many areas. The strict Protestant beliefs of many early colonists meant Halloween celebrations were actually discouraged. But everything changed in the mid-1800s. Between 1845 and 1852, Ireland experienced a devastating potato famine. Over 1 million people died. Another 1 million emigrated, and many came to America. These Irish immigrants brought their Halloween traditions with them. And because Irish Catholics formed large, concentrated communities, their traditions began to spread rapidly. The Irish celebrated Halloween with parties, fortune-telling games, ghost stories, and something called guising, where young people dressed in costume and performed songs or tricks in exchange for food or money. But America transformed Halloween. By the late 1800s, newspapers and community leaders were encouraging people to make Halloween less frightening and more community-focused. They wanted to remove the scary elements and focus on neighborly gatherings, games, and harvest celebrations. Halloween parties became incredibly popular. People bobbed for apples, played fortune-telling games, and decorated with cornstalks and pumpkins. Jack-o'-lanterns, which the Irish had traditionally carved from turnips, were now made from pumpkins because pumpkins were native to America and much, much easier to carve. But there was a problem brewing. Trick-or-treating in the early 1900s wasn't cute kids asking for candy, but teenagers and sometimes even adults playing pranks that often crossed the line into serious vandalism. This included overturned outhouses, soaped windows, removed gates, tipped-over wagons, and damaged property. By the 1920s and 30s, Halloween had gotten completely out of control in many American cities. Some towns even tried to ban Halloween entirely. Communities needed a solution. And in the 1930s and 40s, civic organizations, schools, and parents began organizing official trick-or-treating as a way to give young people something constructive to do. The idea was brilliant in its simplicity. Instead of destructive pranks, kids would go door to door in costume and receive treats. This would channel all that chaotic energy into something controlled and community-oriented. The candy companies absolutely loved this idea. They began marketing specifically for Halloween. And after World War II ended and sugar rationing stopped, Halloween candy sales absolutely exploded. By the 1950s, trick-or-treating had become the dominant Halloween tradition. Those kids going door to door in the 1950s, their grandparents had been the teenagers causing mayhem in the 1920s. One generation's vandalism became the next generation's childhood memory. And from there, it spread globally. Part 4. Modern Halloween. Today, Halloween is the second largest commercial holiday in America, right after Christmas. Americans spend over $10 billion annually on Halloween. Let that sink in. $10 billion. What started as an ancient Celtic ritual to protect against spirits has become a massive cultural celebration and industry. So let's connect the dots. Every modern Halloween tradition has ancient DNA. Costumes evolved from hiding from spirits to dressing as Spider-Man. Jack-o'-lanterns transformed from warding off ghosts to becoming porch decorations. Trick-or-treating changed from offerings for the dead to candy for kids. The fear is gone, but the tradition survived 2,000 years. We host costume parties, tell ghost stories, and watch horror movies. The fascination with death, spirits, and the supernatural is pure Celtic heritage. We've kept the themes even though we've lost the belief system. And here's something nobody talks about. The candy companies didn't invent trick-or-treating. They just made sure it never died. Halloween has spread far beyond America now. Different cultures celebrate in their own ways. Mexico's Day of the Dead, the Philippines' Day of Souls, China's Hungry Ghost Festival. All are celebrations of the boundary between life and death. That fascination is universal. It crosses cultures and centuries. So what does all this mean? Halloween is a perfect example of how traditions evolve. What began as a Celtic harvest festival and spiritual protection ritual was absorbed by Christianity, carried across the ocean by Irish immigrants, commercialized by candy companies, and transformed into one of the world's most beloved holidays. The costumes changed, the meaning changed, and the practices changed. But something remained constant. At its core, Halloween has always been about acknowledging death while celebrating life. The ancient Celts faced the dark half of the year by honoring the dead and protecting the living. Medieval Christians prayed for souls while communities gathered together. Modern Halloween strips away most of the spiritual meaning, but we still gather. We still tell ghost stories. We still mark this transition from autumn to winter. And that's exactly what Pandora's Project is about. Opening the boxes that have been sealed. Looking past the surface of what we think we know. Discovering that the origins are always more complex, more fascinating, and more human than the sanitized versions we're taught. Because here's the truth. Every tradition, every celebration, every story we tell has layers. Beneath the candy and costumes, there's a 2,000-year-old festival about death and darkness. Beneath Christmas, there are winter solstice rituals. Beneath our fairy tales, there are warnings about real human dangers. These aren't secrets, but are simply forgotten, buried under time and transformation. And we're here to uncover them. The next time you carve a pumpkin or put on a costume, you're participating in a tradition that connects you to people who lived 2,000 years ago. Different beliefs, different purposes, but the same human desire to face the darkness and find joy in it. That's the ancient story behind Halloween. From Samhain bonfires to trick-or-treat candy, from sacred rituals to commercial celebration, from protecting against spirits to dressing as Spider-Man. From terrified Celts hiding from ghosts to children collecting candy, it all happens on the same night. October 31st. The box is open and the story is told. If you want to keep opening these boxes with me, subscribe to Pandora's Project. Every video, we explore the origins that have been hidden, transformed, or forgotten. The stories behind the stories. Drop a comment and let me know. What surprised you most about Halloween's origins? The Celtic terror behind the costumes? The medieval soul cakes? The vandalism that almost killed the holiday? Or tell me what box you want me to open next. Fairy tales? Holiday traditions? The origins of everyday things? You decide. Thanks for watching. Whether you're watching this in October or the middle of summer, happy Halloween. The box is open and let's see what else we can find. I'll see you in the next one.